Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are coming to you live from San Francisco, and I'm Suman Devnath. I'm a developer advocate with the Amazon EFS team. With me, I have my co-host, Aim.
Hey, I'm still AM Gravelny. It's still me, professional hat wearer, solution architect, and Kyle's friend, I think. Friend? Right?
Friends.
Okay.
No, hugs.
I got a hug.
Hello, everybody. I am Kyle Lee. I am a senior developer advocate on the AWS Amplify team, and I am actually the guest right now. You know, you might not be able to tell from the shirts, but I am actually a guest,
Yeah.
and we're going to actually be talking about something that has just launched, which is AWS Amplify. My team, we have launched on all of our platforms for Geo. So now not only do we support JavaScript, but we also support iOS and Android, which was just one of the newest things that was just recently launched. So I know that we had just talked a little bit about Amplify, right, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went through kind of and if you've just joined the stream, we'll do a real high level amplify because we've got limited time.
Yeah,
But I
I'm
think maybe
very
you want to
new to
hit.
that.
Oh, sorry. I think you may want to hit that Amplify has categories. We didn't
Absolutely.
talk about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so perfect. So one of the great things about Amplify, in my personal opinion, and just a little bit of background about myself, I am a mobile developer. And, you know, as a mobile developer, when I come into AWS, there's so many different services to choose from. I don't know what is exactly right for what I need in my application, right? And one of the great things about Amplify is that you don't necessarily need to know a whole lot about the services. What you need to know is what your use case is. So it's really cool because what you can do is you can choose between the different libraries, and all the different libraries offer specific use cases that are available for you.
Yep.
So we have things like authentication, so user authentication, log in and user in. File storage using something like S3 under the hood, so you're able to save your photos, your videos, things like that. And then we have things like API and data store, which allows you to do data storage and syncing data to a database under the hood as a DynamoDB or something of your choosing. So that's a little bit of a high-level overview of what the libraries are for Amplify.
Categories.
The categories, you're right.
Yeah, because library.
bad.
Well, we
The
talked about
library,
libraries briefly, right? And those
Yeah.
align more with both the languages and frameworks, even in the case of JavaScript, right? Like-
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
what
Yeah.
problems basically this solves, and which was not possible before we launched this?
Yeah, so like I said, one of the biggest problems that I think that Amplify in general that it solves is the fact that you can be focused on creating a feature for your app, and then that could be added in it could be easily added in for front end and mobile developers. Mobile developers, shout out, what's up? And then specifically, the category that we're going to be talking about today is going to be Geo. So Geo is going to be allowing you to add location services. So it's using Amazon location underneath the hood, and it makes it really easy to add maps using things like Map Libre, which is an open source map library, and adding those into your app. And I actually have a demo for you guys if you want to check it out.
awesome.
Do you?
Hey, I'm a visual learner. I know that some of y'all are out there are visual learners, so we are definitely going to see something very visual today. So we're going to start off in the terminal because this is well, y'all already had the chance to see Studio. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off in the terminal with Amplify CLI. Now, in order to get started, what you're going to do is you're going to do Amplify init, and that's going to kick off a series of configuration questions. Now, I'm going to spam through these, hit enter a couple of times, and it's just going to essentially be able to pick up what I'm trying to do is essentially start a brand new Amplify project. So we're going to enter in all the default values, and you could take a look at my screen, see some of the information, some of the questions that it's going to be asking. Now, at this point, it's all normal. Every time you start an Amplify project, it's always going to be the same. You're going to run with Amplify init, unless you're doing something like Danny had mentioned in the previous session where you're coming from Studio and you create your Amplify project in the back end. So once you have your Amplify project created, the next step is to essentially choose which category that you want from the libraries. And like I said, today what we're going to be working with is Amplify Geo. So the next step for me would be, since I'm going to be working with Geo, it's as simple as saying, typing into the command line, Amplify, add Geo. That's the specific category that we're going to be working with. So let's go ahead and do that right now. we have Amplify add, and we specify geo. Now the cool thing about geo is that we have a lot of different services that are being offered by Amazon Location. As you can see, we have map, we have location search. We're going to actually be adding both of them here, and I'm only going to be doing one during this time because we only have short time, and we're going to jump over to a pre-completed project just so that you can see what it's like when you actually have it all done. But let's say we want to add a map to our app. We choose map. It's going to ask us a couple of questions. A lot of the different services with Amplify require that you do have Cognito also initialized for security purposes, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of role-based things. The setup adds a role, right?
Exactly, yeah. So what it'll do is it'll actually go in, configure things so that you have a specific role that work with these specific resources that are being
It'll
generated.
take care of the
underneath hood.
authentication stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So you don't really even need to know a whole lot about it. I actually don't know a whole lot about AWS. So that's one of the awesome things about Amplify is that you don't need to know a whole lot in order to get started. So what it's asking me here is it's asking me to set up authentication, the authentication category through Cognito, and then we can add in the geo category. So as you can see, provide a map name. We're going to go with all the defaults, and since I am not going to be providing authentication flow, we're going to go with authorized and guest users, so that we're able to just check out the map without having to sign in. And then from there, we're not going to do anything special. Once we have all of this set up, what we can do is we could take a look at what we've done so far by using Amplify status, and that will actually show you what we've added so far. The two categories are going to be auth and geo. So once you're done choosing all the different categories, or you can add them down the road as well, what you'll do is you'll run Amplify push.
Yeah,
Now,
this hasn't actually done anything yet, right?
yeah, this is only building a configuration locally. Yep. So what it's doing is it's preparing to send information up to CloudFormation so that it can essentially spin up those resources for you, and you can start using them right away.
One of my favorite features of Amplify is I don't have to write CloudFormation. I mean, look, I love CloudFormation. It's fun sometimes. Sometimes I just don't want to write it, and I just want to use the thing, right?
Hey, I don't blame you. Like I said, I don't know CloudFormation, and I don't have to, and that's what Amplify is for.
And we just did 3 commands, right? Amplify init, Amplify add, and Amplify push.
That's right. So once you have all your categories set up, what you're going to do is you're going to run Amplify push, and that is going to send that configuration up to the back end, and that will essentially spin up all the different resources. Now this is going to take a couple of minutes during your first deployment, but every deployment after that should be relatively shorter compared to that. So I'm going to jump over to my other project, and as you can see, we have ran Amplify push, and that it leaves me with a bunch of different files. So you'll see things like the Amplify configuration file, AWS configuration file, that allows my front end client to speak to the back end. Now let's go over to my project. Now I am an iOS developer. I'm going to be showing you what it's like to be inside of Xcode, which is where we write iOS apps.
Right.
So it's a little bit small, but all you really need to know is that at this point in this project, it's a fairly basic project. Nothing really has been added to it, but what I've done is I added 2 different dependencies. So I have my Amplify iOS dependency added here. This is the one that's highlighted. You can't really see it, but it doesn't really matter. And then you have the Amplify Map Libre adapter that has been added, and they've been added using Swift Package Manager. Really big deal in the iOS community. Just think about it as NPM, right? So that's how I added these libraries to my project. Once I have the libraries added to my project, what I need to do, regardless of what platform you're on, whether it be JavaScript, Android, iOS, Flutter, whatever it is, what you need to do is you need to configure Amplify first so that it can understand which plugins you're working with. And we do that as soon as possible. You cannot use Amplify until it's been configured. So what we do is we add in a couple of different plugins. Remember that Cognito is required for Geo, and we are going to add in the Cognito auth plugin along with the location geo plugin, and then we'll say Amplify configure. We only call this once, and then we're all done. And then, hey, if you get it, then it looks like you kind of know what you're doing, but let's find out.
Moment of truth.
Yep, that's right. So we head back over. This is where we're going to be writing all of our UI. And as you can see, we have this function that's going to allow us to observe the user's location. And the really amazing thing about Amplify Geo is that it's so simple to actually get up and running. So all I need to do is type in AML map view, add it right here. And then we want it to make sure that it stretches to all the sides. So we do edge, ignore this thing, and then we'll just say all. And in these two lines, we're pretty much set. So if I go ahead and run my app, and you can see my beautiful children right there. If we go ahead and run the app, what's going to happen is it's going to pull up this AML map view, and in two lines of code, we already have a map coming up. Now, okay, showing a map, that's not all that great. So let's go a little bit further. Let's try to make it a little bit better, right? So what we can do is we can actually use this thing that's called composite map view, right? So we don't want to just work with just a map. We actually want to see things on that map, right? Okay, well, we work with the AML map composite view. And what that does is it brings up, and we actually don't need this line anymore, but it brings up essentially a map view that allows you to do search capabilities. It has the ability to switch back to a list, and it actually has the ability to choose your current location. Only thing that I need to do here is make sure that we have one last state object so that we can actually interact with this UI. And what we'll do is a view model. And this will be an AML view, like that. So we have a view model. We'll pass it in to our constructor right here. And then we just need to update it whenever we get the coordinates back from our coordinate service. What we'll do is we'll just say view model dot map state dot user location. And we'll set it equal to those coordinates. So we run that one last time, and we should get it updated. I may have missed a line, so we're going to do show user location, and we're going to set that to true. And that's pretty much all you need to do. Now, the AML map composite view, as you can see, it works with the map view. It has the search bar up top. It has a lot of these other things. It didn't get to show right here, but we're running out of time. Just make sure that you check in the chat right now. There should be a link to show you where to get started using the documentation and all that great stuff. But yes, make sure that you check out AWS Amplify. It makes working with all the different AWS services much easier, and specifically Geo. If you want to work with maps on your app, Geo's the thing for you.
I love it. Less than 10 minutes, you actually provisioned a real back end that your front end, mobile client could speak to, right?
Yep,
all
that's
through
right.
3 commands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Take us away, Suman.
Yeah. I think this is amazing, right? So when we have deployed an application on the mobile, I think that, this is surely going to be very useful for app developers, especially mobile developers, right? And yeah, we are super excited to see what customer feels about it, and we are looking forward to see the feedback that we get from the customers, right?
Yep, and don't worry, I'm going to always be spamming AWS on air with Amplify, so you're going to definitely see a whole lot more of this.
That's right. That's right.
Sure.
Well, stick around. We've got more coming up, and it's going to be exciting, I promise. So stay tuned.
Bye.